Audio Jungle. Audio Jungle.
China has identified the cause of the
mysterious new virus.
Coronavirus.
Coronavirus.
There are fears a rapidly spreading virus has reached Australia.
This is a rapidly emerging situation where there is not a cause for alarm.
The first US case has been detected.
There's confirmation the coronavirus has reached Australia.
China is urging its citizens not to travel abroad as it struggles to contain the virus.
We will be standing up Christmas Island as a quarantine area.
Foreign nationals coming from China are now banned from entering the country.
I have today declared that the coronavirus presents a public health emergency in the United States.
All right. Hello. What is your name?
Hi, my name is Sophia Mariani. I'm a master's in humanities student.
All right. Perfect. That's out of the way. All right. So today I'm just going to ask you what your opinions on online versus in-person classes are.
Well, I would say that online is definitely a more disruptive learning experience. I think it's harder to engage with the classroom and the professor when you're not in there in person. I think what's most disruptive though is unfortunately like the hybrid situation when it's both online and in person. At least when it's online all together, you're kind of all in the same situation, but when half of it's online, half of it's in person.
So just one or the other, basically. Like choose your disability at that point.
Honestly. And I think I really enjoy in-person classes because that means we get to facilitate discussion with the other students, and it's easier to understand the professor. Just like logistically, I can hear better.
I feel like you can also pick up on like cues, like just human cues in person rather than online. Yeah.
Very true. Yeah, body language is so important. Even like when studying for an exam, when a professor is going over something in class, it's like it seems like there's more of an intuition on what's going to be on the exam maybe later when you're in person versus when you're online.
Now, how does online, or you can answer this both ways, online or in person, how does it affect you mentally and physically? I feel like the two intertwine.
I think I do enjoy having the option of being online. Like for example, if I'm not feeling well, instead of just having to miss the class and having no access to the information, it's quite nice being able to just tune in online. But as a general note, I social engagement I think is a lot better for your mental health, and like having being forced to come into the classroom and being around my peers is a lot more fun and probably better for mental health than staying home, trapped inside and having to be forced to work online.
All right, so Sam, just ask you what are your thoughts on in-person versus online learning?
Well, I think they both have their positives and negatives. I personally definitely have seen a decline in my grades because of the in-person style of teaching.
Really? Okay, interesting.
Yeah.
How come? What would you say?
I think that I don't know why I felt like it was a lot easier to manage my time when we were online. I think that has to do with the fact that we didn't have to come to university and then go back home. It was just easier to manage everything.
A lot more time kind of to just do things and get your thoughts together kind of.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. All right. So did you have any, this might be personal, it's okay if you don't want to ask it. Do you have any physical or mental, emotional kind of downsides to either in person or online? It could be social as well.
I feel like in-person classes have created a lot of anxiety, like a lot more anxiety than the online ones, because of the same thing, that like the fact that we that I'm not able to manage my time properly. And also I feel like the assignments that we were given online were meant to be for the online way of teaching, which gave us a lot of free room to just basically just be able to think about what we want to write, think about what we want to do, a lot more than just having to submit assignment after assignment after assignment after assignment, which is kind of what it feels like when you study in person.
Yeah.
One of the largest effects the global COVID-19 pandemic had was on the world's education system. It changed the way we learned, adopting a completely online system from wherever you were on the planet. Thanks to technology, the world didn't come to a standstill. But as the pandemic endured, the effects of online education began to show. Thankfully, some universities have been able to return to normal, while others remain in hybrid systems and still completely online. Comparing the effects of online and in-class learning at Anglo-American University in Prague reveals just another story, written by the most notorious author. We carried out a survey with AAU students comparing online and in-class learning, and as expected, most students preferred learning in a classroom, giving reasons including getting the full university experience. It was easier to communicate, pay attention and understand, and much easier to collaborate, as well as the experience being much more personal and attaining a realistic social engagement. But surprisingly, as much as 22% prefer being online, providing reasons including it saves on cost, they had more time because there was no commute, they felt safer, and some even said it eased their stress and anxiety. 35% of students reported that there was no difference in their grades between virtual and classroom learning. 30% said they improved in class, but as much as 17% noted that online their grades were better. 73% of students found it increasingly difficult to concentrate and participate online. But none reported that they ever felt neglected by the university or lecturers. 50% were able to manage their time while learning virtually. 27% struggled. 87% of students had a better social life on campus, while 61% of virtual learners reported feeling alone. But also, among some of the most common mental health effects of being online were anxiety, depression, and stress, and even reports on panic attacks and suicidal thoughts. However, when asked if they also experienced these in class, anxiety levels are still high, and stress and panic attack percentages increased. A comparison was investigated concerning the physical effects of the two types of learning. Sleeping problems were the most common effect, and they decreased from 44 to 30% with on-campus learning. Although percentages were small, students reported incidents of self-harm, exhaustion, substance abuse, and eating disorders, more common in virtual than on-campus learning.